Hey, welcome back to the Buck Junkie Podcast. We are back in action here at camp, and we're going to sit down. And what are we talking about today, gentlemen? It's after deer season, so we got to switch gears.
Shoot, a lot of things to talk about. I mean, we got small game hunting, we got land management, we got a good little things to talk about. I think Mark's going on a trip this week.
Cold front to come in this morning.
Dude, it was cold, man. It got chilly last night. I went out to put the garbage.
It was ice on my truck this morning.
Yeah.
I had to thaw.
Yeah. They said Memphis had some slick spots.
Yeah.
And then 27, the low Saturday night.
Saturday night's the 20th.
It's gonna be cold. Y'all, it's gonna be cold out there at the farm cooking Saturday.
Oh, no.
It always is.
And, every year, John and them, when they plan it, it's either rain or
it's rained every year. I've been out there.
Y'all go. So we've got some friends that have it's an annual cook-off at their house, pretty much.
Dark Corner Showdown.
Is that what it's called? The Dark Corner Showdown.
They get mad if you win it, and they get really mad if you win it 2 years in a row.
So how long have y'all been part of that? Because I didn't find out to it till after y'all had been cooking it.
It's been
2014 was the first year we cooked it.
10 years. Wow.
Yeah, and it was going on before.
Yeah.
Then. That was just the first year me and Mark cooked it because we got kind of shunned. We showed up. I guess we had 2 drums. Never even cooked on either one of them. Showed up. Most of them guys are green egg guys, and they're like, "Y'all aren't cooking."
We were running gurus on drums, so you didn't have to do anything.
You're never opening it.
They never saw you light the fire or anything.
No, and
thought y'all were hanging out.
Well, we screwed up because we got out and we had our swine life shirts on.
Contest. We're dressed like we're going to barbecue. We got
out and I heard one of the guys' wives behind us like, they got shirts.
Yeah, they got.
And I was like, crap.
That's some ringers.
I put my jacket on. I was like, all right.
They knew they didn't stand a chance. They've been out there burning a quart of wood.
That was the first and last time we.
Yeah, we never cooked it again.
So y'all only cooked it once.
Yeah.
And then they made you start judging it.
I enjoy the judging. Judging's fun.
And I don't judge unless they need me to. A lot of times, like last year, we cooked a hog and like fed everybody that showed up. Mm-hmm. And this year, I had all intentions on helping John's sons cook. Like I wasn't going to do it. I was just going to point, run the fire, tell them what to do, but I wasn't physically going to do it. And then I got my weekends mixed up, so we're going to Nashville this weekend. So Mikey's got to make sure they win this weekend. No pressure.
Oh, I got me a team.
Oh, you got a team?
Yeah.
So what are y'all entering? So they always do ribs. They always do some kind of beef and some kind of chicken.
And a mystery. Yeah.
And then they buy all
They
the
provide
beef.
it.
So you don't get to bring your – it's kind of fair, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you got a cooler, just a styrofoam cooler with the number on it.
Yeah.
And they say, all right, draw your name, your number out. You're number 5. Well, everybody got the same thing in the cooler.
Yeah.
You just don't get to pick. So on a mystery meat, they've done what? Goose. They've done duck. They did do duck.
Yeah.
Pheasant.
Squirrel.
What was it they done the one year that Randy cooked that was so good? It was something off the wall.
Who?
Randy.
Squirrel, I think.
Was it squirrel?
Probably was squirrel.
Pretty much whatever Charles catches or shoots.
Charles or Mike Powell.
Now look, Charles got accused last year of cooking a daggone ribeye or
filet.
I had to cook
it was goose last
It was
year.
that good. He took a goose breast, cut it like a filet in a round circle, and then tied it, and then seasoned it, or he put it in red wine vinegar, and then seasoned it like a steak, and put grill marks on it, turned it in.
Oh, it looked just like a filet laying there.
Me because I was with Will. Will was cooking last year, and I was just kind of pointing fingers for Will and helping, not really helping him, just pointing fingers for him mostly. And anyways, they come out and they said, we need you to come in and tell us
if this is legal,
what was cooked or not.
Yeah.
And I went in there and I was like, okay, I guess I can tell you that. I don't know. I mean, whose is it? And they wouldn't tell me. And I got in there. They was like, Charles turned in a ribeye or a
filet mignon.
Filet mignon.
Yeah.
And I looked down there and I was like, Charles didn't. No, I watched him cook it. I watched him trim the goose. I watched him do all of it.
Yeah.
It's a goose.
and it was dang good.
Yeah, and the game
It
warden,
would have fooled you for filet.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Really?
The game warden picked it up and he said, well, I know damn good well it's a goose. It's got a feather still on the bottom of it. Good thing y'all didn't get that in your mouth. He probably would have lost.
Jamie got a piece of
I
shot.
proved it too. I never fails. If I get a bite of squirrel, rabbit, goose, duck, don't matter. I'm gonna get a shot.
Yeah. So there was one.
Oh yeah. I like broke a tooth off of it. Yeah, definitely.
But no, that was the best goose I've ever ate in my life.
Dang, we did try.
I wouldn't want to tell Charles to his face. I mean, he'll hear it through the podcast maybe. But no, it was dang good.
Charles, so he goes out. He brought me some of those. It's a Canada goose. He goes out to Oklahoma. They go out there like twice a year, and they kill a bunch of them in dry field hunting. And they do not taste like the Canada geese that we have down here.
I think our geese down here just eat too much sour grain on the field and
I don't know, but they ain't
fish
that good.
holes or something.
Man.
They taste horrible.
That darn snow goose I cooked last year.
We tried to eat one,
Man.
didn't we?
That dude right there.
I mean, you could eat it.
It tasted good. Like it was, I thought the taste was fine. Like it tasted like a little gamier duck.
Yeah.
But smelling it while it cooked, dude, it was
that's
horrible.
Yeah.
Dude, that thing was so
It makes you
stout.
think, I don't know if I want to eat this.
Like I don't know if it was a goose, part drum, a little bit of cat. Like I don't know what was in that skillet,
Yeah.
but it was.
I know Merganser puts that snow goose to shame when it
Yes.
comes to eating him.
Heck, a daggum coot puts that snow goose to shame.
I never ate coot.
Ain't nothing wrong with no
I used
coot.
to hunt with we killed a bunch of snow geese down in those rice fields down in the Delta, but he always made jerky out of them. He would cut them up thin, dehydrate them, and man, he brought me bags of that goose jerky. It was good. It was really good. He said I couldn't never figure out what to do with the daggum things.
I think when it comes to ducks and geese, I think it goes back to what you're going to do it for. So, like, if you're going to do just a seared duck breast, like I would want a mallard, a gadwall, pinto, like a good duck.
Good sized duck.
But yeah, like something that, is not, pretty tame flavor. It's really, really good. But like a coot and all these McGanders and shovelers, like people that, I'm not eating that. Man, that's some of the best stuff you can possibly use if you're making a gumbo or something that you're like trying to fortify that broth.
Duck and gravy.
Man, there's nothing wrong. Like a coot and some gumbo is outstanding.
Yeah.
And
When we first started duck hunting, I didn't know. We didn't know what we was doing. Man, we had some ducks, man. We were dressed.
had chicken feet on them.
Guys like,
Had talons.
y'all are eating that? And I'm like, yeah. I mean, we're going to do the old school with tagging, dressing Dale's, bacon wrapped duck. It's got to kill any bad flavor. But
like if you
That's
got
why it gets a bad rap, because people will take just any old trash duck. I call them trash duck, puddlers, I guess, or whatever.
overcook the heck
But they
out
will
of it.
Wrap it up with bacon and cream cheese and jalapeno. Cook it, that bacon's burn up pretty much.
The ducks
And it's so livery and
grainy
yeah,
and-
grainy, and people say, why would you eat those? But if you cook it right, like you're talking about pan searing a good duck breast, or taking those roll ups, pre-cooking your bacon, and just cooking it to where that duck's barely done, it's some of the best you'll ever eat.
Yeah.
we cooked duck 3 ways. I guess it was Friday before last. And I may have talked about this last week, but we fried some. We had some cut up in strips, fried it, and then we had, I think it was a couple of smaller breasts. And I'm pretty sure some of them were wood duck and teal because they were little bitty breasts. Cooked them on the black stone, like you say, salt, pepper, garlic, nothing else. Hard seared them. They were rare, like 120, 115. Let them sit in a pan with a little bit of butter in it and sliced them. And that's the best bite of red meat there is.
Yeah.
I mean, if you told me to have that or filet mignon, I'm gonna be hard pressed to make that decision because I mean it's rich, it's good.
The best way that we cooked it when I was down here at camp was when we took those breasts, we did no marinade. It was just like salt, pepper, garlic a little bit, and put them on a blackstone and get that blackstone on hot as you can get it, and you just kiss it on there pretty much until it's about 118, 120.
Now I
And then when
did
you slice it,
I
did
did
melts in
use a
your mouth.
jacquard. I did jacquard it, and
yeah,
it was
tenderize it a little bit.
it would just melt in your mouth. But you go back to these gamier, stronger ducks like a coot or a gander or whatever. Use that gamey flavor, which I don't mind, but use that to your advantage and put it in a stew or gumbo or something like you say that's going to cook down. And man, it's outstanding.
I can handle gamey. I can handle liver. But if it's got fishy taste to it, I'm out. I can't do.
Well, snows for some reason have a little fishy taste.
Then they don't eat fish. You'll never see them sitting on water too
I
much.
think they just eat whatever
they
they
sit in
can.
rice fields, but they don't just. I ain't never. Have you ever seen
they-
them just covered up of the river or the big lake or something?
I was trying to think of what all.
Man, they probably eat frogs and everything else out in them bean fields.
They'll eat it all.
I'm trying to remember what all the fish eating ducks are. I think coots are,
Coots are.
and there's a couple more.
Any of them divers.
Yeah, any diver duck will eat fish. At least I guess. I'm probably
I
wrong on
always
that,
said
but
the
that's
small
always what I was
ducks.
told. But again, I think it's good meat. You just got to make sure you cook it right,
It's all in the
execute it.
prep,
Yeah, it's all in the
preparation
prep and the
of it.
recipe. And like, I'm not going to take I have, but I'm not going to take a coot or one of them diver ducks and treat it like I would a teal. Just not going to do it. But it definitely has its place in the kitchen.
I don't like them overly seasoned.
No.
I like the taste. I want it to taste like duck.
And that was kind of one of our video ideas we were talking about last week for not necessarily a recipe, but cook the old school backstrap bacon wrapped deer with Italian dressing and Dale's and compare it to what we cook now that's like simple salt, pepper, garlic, seared,
Which
medium
one
rare,
tastes better?
and see which one actually tastes better.
Mikey's got a roll-up video coming out fairly soon. Is it already came out? I don't think it has.
I think it comes out like next
week. It was
week.
just something y'all did at Buddy's house. Y'all were hanging out and decided, I'm going to make a video.
Snow day.
Snow day?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you just did standard O. Did you marinate them?
Yeah, I marinated them.
Italian dressing or?
Yeah, I didn't have any Dale, so I just put like soy sauce, Worcestershire, like half a bottle of Italian dressing and black and red pepper in there. And just
that's standard right there.
Yeah, just put the meat in there and let it sit in the refrigerator for about an hour or so and pull it out and roll them up, cream cheese, bacon, jalapenos, pickled jalapenos, and on the spears they went.
I know we talk a lot of crap about poppers. People have a love-hate relationship, but I don't care what you say. It's a daggum good bite.
I love a popper. I would say that's the number one way people cook wild game.
That's a good way to introduce somebody.
Yeah.
Like, that's a good way to introduce somebody that maybe has never had it or is real unsure, like, I don't like it. Like, that's the gateway drug into eating wild game, like it'll get you going.
I've been cheated on.
If we can get some squirrels, we're going to do some squirrel poppers. Now, I've never had a squirrel popper. Have y'all?
No, I hadn't had a squirrel popper.
We've got to come up with, if we're cooking in the squirrel world, what is it called? The World Squirrel
Champion Squirrel Cook-off.
We can't be letting the secrets out.
Mikey had a good talk yesterday with Mr. Joe Wilson.
Yeah, Joe
from
Wilson
the World Squirrel Cooking Association. I don't even know if it's a thing.
He's made it a thing, I think.
Yeah, he's on a hot trip. Where's he headed?
He's headed down to Puerto Rico to go pellet hunting iguanas.
That's a big deal too.
Mikey said that he keep you on the phone about an hour talking about it, right?
Yeah. He called me. I don't know. It was about 6:30 last night, and he was talking about a squirrel cook-off because I had put word out that we were interested in cooking it and stuff and wanting to put a tent up there. And anyways, he called me wanting to know what we wanted to do and all that stuff. So I was kind of giving him some insight on what we was kind of expecting to do when we come up there. And anyway, he started telling me about he's telling me about his hunting trip down to Puerto Rico. He said, well, I'm fixing to leave, go to Puerto Rico. It's plane ticket's $120. He said the guide service is $250 for 3 days. And he said that he found some Airbnb up in the jungle that he thinks is, what was the name?
El Chapo.
El Chapo's house.
Sounds like he got a narco flight. Yeah. They're taking something to
That's
Puerto
what I
Rico
asked him.
for
I said, you ain't nervous? He was like, man, I don't know. It seems a little sketchy.
You got to jump out for $125 or does
don't
it
even land?
land?
Just a flyby.
Yeah. They're going to put him out and pick him up in one of them homemade submarines. Haul him back to Puerto Rico.
Yeah, so Joe said that the guy told him, he asked him, how many of these iguanas can you kill in a day? And he said,
what do you think he was thinking now? Before you say this number, how many do you think he was thinking he was going to get killed?
He was thinking, maybe 8 or 10 of them or something like that.
Like a squirrel hunt. Yeah, like our squirrel
25 in a day.
I told him 500.
Can you imagine? That'd be a boatload of lizards, man.
Oh,
I'd have to make some boots or a bag or something.
Well, my next question to him was, does this dude clean them things? He was like, it's all, yeah. He said, I don't have to touch it.
You can't bring the meat back, can you?
Yeah, he's bringing it back.
You got to go with the customs. But
you have to take a cooler full of iguana through customs.
You have to check it in. There is a process, but you can bring it back. I'm pretty certain.
Joe said he's vacuum sealing them.
We need to go kill the boner iguana and get him stuffed and put him in the camp over here on a big log.
I'm going with him next year if he goes.
I think you can go to Florida and do it.
Yeah, several states. Yeah, because they're just like everywhere. They're overpopulated everywhere.
They're invasive. Yeah.
But it's all. I mean, it's like us up here in geese. I mean, same thing. It's stuff that nobody hunts or nobody thinks about. Next thing you know, it's like your whole town's full of iguanas.
Well, so they cooked them last year at the squirrel competition. I mean, they had alligator.
Did you eat one?
I didn't. I was filming, so I got over there and
that was a good excuse. I'm filming. I don't need a bite right now.
No, well, I did get to eat the Asian carp. They had Asian carp tacos.
I'd eat it before I would iguana.
Fabulous.
Here we go.
And they had an iguana. They had an alligator. His alligator guy fell through on him, so they wound up confiscating the alligator.
It was from somebody's house.
It was from somebody's house. He said it tastes like cat food because that's probably what they've been feeding it. But they killed it that morning, and they cleaned it and cooked it. And what else did they have? They had something. They had rabbits. They had the test rabbits from the pharmaceutical company.
Definitely. No, when if they told me that, I'd be like, heck no, there's no way I'm eating that.
They wasn't testing the meat. They was just dropping stuff in
I don't know if he was serious or not, but I was like,
lipstick on them and stuff.
So far, everything you named, iguana sounds like the most safest thing to eat.
So this year, they got a whole new run of stuff. This dude, the guy that's got the Asian carp, just caught a 140-pounder.
He's saving it.
He's
You
saving
don't
it.
freeze it, do you? I mean, he's got to.
I don't know if it's for show up there or what. You know, because they had that big old head on that one. It was just sitting out there right where they were serving tacos.
That's an ugly fish.
So
too.
what all categories is at the Squirrel Cook-off? Is
You
it
gotta
just
cook
one?
It's two. You got to cook a main dish and you got to cook a side dish. The side dish can be like an actual side, you know, rice, vegetables, or something like that, or like some people turned in like a dessert.
Yeah.
They had
But
like
it doesn't have to include squirrel.
It-
the side
they-
dish.
has to-
The side
you
dish.
have to have
Judge,
squirrel
they
in
tell us
both.
to judge on how much squirrel's featured in the dish.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you have to be able to taste the squirrel. You can't, you know.
And you supply your own squirrels.
Yes.
We got to get to
We're
work.
struggling. I got one in the freezer. We're struggling.
I know. We need at least a dozen, probably.
Yeah, we're fixing to take care of that.
We only got, what,
I
about
know. I got to.
13,
2
14 more
weeks.
days? I
2
think.
more
Yeah.
weeks.
I got to call Haywood and get him down here.
I want me a big old fox squirrel. We'll treat it like a hog. Just lay him out.
I was wondering, so it got me to thinking, could you debone it, but have it all together and then stuff it and roll it back up and make like a roulade with it?
I mean, me and Jamie's pretty good at deboning a hog, but squirrel may be a little tricky.
Think it'd be a little tough?
I need a little bitty fillet knife.
That's there, I mean,
Did you not get the dish that they made a fillet out of that squirrel, where they took it and they
That wasn't on my
they
table.
deboned it and they put it all back together? I guess with meat glue or
Yeah,
something.
glue it up.
And they
Made a
tied it up
steak?
in bacon, and it looked like a filet mignon on the. I mean, you could tell it had like broke. You know, it was glued back together.
Yeah.
but yeah.
so to debone it the same way we did at the island a couple of weeks ago. All the rabbits, you know, skin it out, but don't cut the leg, don't cut nothing off the carcass. Leave it solid and debone it on there. And that's a whole lot easier than it is. Because last one, the first rabbits I deboned, the one Daddy and them brought, which they didn't cut the legs off and back out and all that. And it's hard to do that. But if you leave it on the squirrel, you can debone it pretty dang easy.
That's what I was thinking.
Just like a deer. Just like a deer. You just slice it down the inside of the back leg and roll
and
the meat
stay in
back.
it and roll it off. Yeah. Right down the bone.
I got all kind of ideas.
For squirrel?
Heck yeah. Some tree rat dirty rice.
We may can. You know, we're cooking in that wild game contest down here in Senatobia, Tate County, next month.
March 23rd.
If Joe comes
we got
back by
signed up
then,
this
you can meet
morning.
up with him and get some iguana, and we could put that in.
Yeah. I don't know where that would fit.
Would it go in animals that swim, or would it go in animals that
Because
crawl?
our categories are
Small game,
Let me pull
large
it up.
game.
You sent an email
small
yesterday, didn't
game,
you?
large game, fish, fowl. I think that's it.
It would go in small game. Or could it go in? It's not a fish, but it swims.
Man,
Where would frog go? Small game.
Small game, probably. I don't think they're going to like kick you out for accidentally turning in an iguana if it was a small game and should have been in a fish category or
Yeah.
something.
we
but-
did like me and Mark did one time at a
General Sal's iguana would be pretty good.
yeah, we had a contest. We did mystery meat and it was
Alligator.
no, it was buffalo. Was it either buffalo or elk chops that we cooked or steak? And somebody asked what we cooked, and Mark told them it was Alaskan polar bear. And we had the
Where
whole
were we?
Hernando.
Polar bear fillet.
Was it Hernando or Springfest? One of the two. I think it was Hernando.
It might have been Hernando.
We had everybody in the whole thing like, man, I want to try this polar bear, and everybody's like, oh, that was so
Well-
good, and it was. I think it was buffalo. Pretty sure.
Bison.
Maybe it was. We had them bison ribeyes.
Yeah, I think that's what. And we had everybody think. I mean, it was like we couldn't blown away that
The
polar
first
bear
year-
tastes that good.
The first year we cooked Memphis and May with y'all, and we done the exotic, and I cooked duck.
Yeah.
And I was like, of course, first year doing Memphis and May, I was kind of like, well, I don't know if that's really that exotic. So when you get up there, like they ask you sometimes, like, what is this? And I was like, oh crap. So I was like, Brazilian hooded mergansers, and sit it down. Kept on walking.
That's way exotic.
Yeah.
So Matt sent me a text last night telling me what all options he had, you know, like already vacuum sealed.
Game,
stuff
he's
like
got- he had the
got.
freezer,
So he's
yeah.
got. He said he's got quail, squirrel, duck, dove, deer, whole back straps, and tenderloins. He's got some deer sausage. He's got crappie, and he said he thinks he's pretty sure he's got some turkey breast, wild turkey breast. So
Sounds like some pretty good stuff.
if we want to throw something else in the mix,
Yeah.
See, I couldn't win. I can't win at that kind of stuff because I'm too inside the box. I mean, I do like basic normal stuff I cook at home. I think I don't know the judges or the people. Some of them go so far outside the box or what.
If it's good,
It's good.
Yeah.
It's good. It walks the dog. I mean,
it doesn't matter.
it's hard to beat that old sauce that you do when you did the dry aged it was aged in the refrigerator though.
Yeah. It was aged, and I made a red wine reduction sauce with mushrooms.
and man, it melted your mouth, wasn't it?
It was unbelievable. Cooked it on a freaking ammo can, little Bill fold out grill about that big. Had Charles Lauder so mad.
That's a pretty cool little grill.
I might drag it back out. Yeah,
the ammo can grill.
I have to drag it back out.
Who made that?
M Grills.
Jim Grills.
I think that's who it was. Pretty sure.
No, it's hot and fast. You ain't no playing around.
Well, we were cooking those little lamb chops on it at a contest, and
that was at the water tower too.
They were, man, delicious.
But I'm looking forward to these little because these little contests here gets us out of our comfort zone.
Yeah,
you know, for me at least, like it's one of the things you kind of use your imagination. You can paint outside the box. It ain't.
So if we do the squirreling, are we going to pass out food like the rest of them do, or are we just going to do the entry?
Depending how many squirrels we kill.
Yeah, but I mean,
well, they weren't passing out just squirrels.
Yeah.
They had cooked like chicken jambalaya and
you
done a bunch of other
squirrel
stuff.
jambalaya.
I'll definitely do some jambalaya.
You can just do a wild game jambalaya and put all different kinds of meat in it.
Because they fed
that would
the
be
whole
easy to do.
Community.
And you feed the masses with that.
But they fed the whole community after they did their turn-ins. You know, people, it was around, they start like the way they do the contest is you go up to Joe and you draw your turn-in time. So the 1 and 2 turn in at 12 o'clock, and then 3 and 4 turn in at 12:05. So it's like 5-minute increments where there's plates hitting the table.
They're not sitting.
They're not just sitting. So your dish doesn't just sit there. It gets
which I like
to
that.
the judge.
You know when you're going, because everyone's judged independently. You're not comparing them to others.
Yeah.
But you have to make, like, where it's different for us is we would always just make one box and turn in. You've got to make 6. So you got to cook enough to fill up.
It's almost like world food. You got to have portions.
Yeah. And it was all in like a to-go box.
So each judge, you get their own portion. They're not.
Yeah, nobody else goes in it. Yeah. And you send it over, like when you get through judging it, it goes to over to what they call a grazing table, where everybody in the judging room can try it. Yeah. But it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool how they do it.
You better have your decorating skills on.
That's what I was sitting there thinking. Like it's pretty much anything goes at that point.
Anything goes. I mean, like it's like they decorated. Like there was one box. It had. I'm sure they washed them and all that, but it had real oak leaves down in the bottom of the box. Acorns that they had washed, big old white oak acorns stuck around it. It was a beautiful box.
It was. It did look good.
I don't know if I could. I don't know. Feel weird about old acorn sitting in the box with you.
But those people up there, they weren't just
rednecks throwing the junk together.
Game on. I'm just telling you,
we can come up with some squirrel dishes that won't be that'll be a little out, but it'll be still within our wheelhouse.
Yeah.
My mind's running right now. I got to hurry up mute this so I can spit out these ideas, write them down.
Yeah, we don't nobody steal them. That's what I can't say too much about what you're working on. Once you turn them in, though, we're going to do the recipes on them on the video so people can see what you do.
If they're dead last, we'll be like,
that wasn't too good. Yeah.
He did say it to me he was going to get a stage this year where the band was up on the stage.
Yeah.
He was going to try to get us kind of close to the stage where we could talk to folks and stuff like that. But
I don't know if we want to be right on top of music all day.
Well, not the cooking tent.
Oh, okay. I got you.
When is this?
It's usually in September.
It's in September. I don't know if Joe set the actual date because he said he was trying to get it around like opening day of bow season, and I think bear season opens up over there in that time. He was trying to dodge some of those weekends and find a weekend where it was, it would draw enough people. But it drew, I don't know, probably 7,000-8,000. You think?
At least, I would think it's pretty good. It was. There was a lot going on that weekend though. They had some big bike rally.
Yeah.
It was like Bike and Blues Fest in Springdale or whatever little town it was. There's 3 little towns right there where it's all going on. But that's a fun event.
Yeah, it was, and it's a good town to go to. I mean, if you ain't never been up there and rode through there, that whole area up there is just beautiful. The bridges and I don't guess you call them bridges. What do you call those?
Man,
they don't go over. It's going over a landmass, just mountain to mountain, and they're.
I forget what
look
they
like
call
stuff
them.
people jump off a parachute off of.
I know exactly what you're talking about. We went up there and cooked that contest at Elkhorn. I think it's up there close to it.
It was like a campground, wasn't it?
No, this is a liquor store.
Oh.
No, we went to.
It was up that way somewhere.
We went to one at a campground up there by Branson.
Yeah, you went through that way probably to get there, didn't you?
No, when we went to the Elkhorn liquor store, you go all the way up through Fayetteville.
Elkhorn liquor store.
I guess where the contest was at.
Was it a liquor store parking lot?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Well, we got 31 days till turkey season opens up. What are we going to do? Mark, you're going to you said you were going to the.
Yeah.
Me and Mark are the least turkey hunting people in the room, and Mark's going to the turkey fest.
Man,
I looked up the itinerary, man. It's some cool stuff going on there.
I'm excited, and I made Jody mad because he's over planning the itinerary, what booth we're going to at what time and where we're going. And,
hey, I like going to Disney.
Yeah. And he was like, well, what do you got in mind? I was like, well, we're going to Cane's Prime Friday night, and we're going to get sushi Saturday night. So that's my goal.
Two highlights.
Yeah.
You got to go by booth 701. That's the Mossy Oak booth.
701.
Say hi to all our friends over there.
Make sure to text
Hopefully
Jody
we can get a little footage. They're supposed to be they're doing all the calling contests. They've got the friction contest, which I guess just pot calls or stuff like that.
All friction calls. So
all friction calls, box calls, slates, I guess. Then they've got an owl hooting contest, and they got the big one's probably the goblin contest. And they've got different, like, they got a kids track on some of it, and they got intermediates, and I guess they got pros.
They used to, some of those contests they do, like, what do they call it, where you just do it with your mouth.
No call.
Like all natural.
I imagine that's the way the goblin and stuff probably, I mean, you could probably use what you wanted to.
Man, can I get the old shaker out of the camp house? I'm going to go up there and enter it.
You need to go see if you can get in it and take the shaker. Just go up there and put on a show, though, Mark.
Just shake it.
You got to work out the turkey strutting and getting down and waddling and all.
Goblin tallywhacker, here I come.
Put on a show because they all put on a show.
Oh, yeah.
Can you do the drum like they did?
I better get me a drum to beat on.
Can you hit that drum, Mikey?
Mm-hmm.
That would be fun to watch, though. But, it's a whole bunch of other stuff going on. There are several seminars. Will Primo's doing a big seminar there. There's some on trapping, which I thought we might talk some about trapping today. That kind of gets us into stuff you could do for turkey population. But there's all kinds of talks on conservation, research, outreach, stuff like that. They're doing call making, like teaching people how to make turkey calls. That would be pretty cool to sit in on and see what they're doing. And, of course, the show, what is it, over 500 vendors going to be in the sports show?
He said it was huge. He said
auctioning all. They got a gun vault, and I don't know if they're auctioning those guns or if you just get to go in and purchase something, but that would be pretty slick to see all the guns. But
Rachel gets to pick up her tanned alligator skin from God's Country Outdoors.
Are they're going to be there?
They'll be there. That's the one she won. Yeah. She won the hunt down there and, of course, killed a monster of a gator. But she's getting to pick up the skin now, so we'll bring it back with us when we come home. So
there's a taxidermy contest, and I imagine it's all turkey. I mean, since it's a turkey convention, but there might be some other stuff there.
That's what we were talking about last night. You're starting to see with taxidermy, like Jody was talking. He's like, man, that's something I wish I would have thought about pursuing. Coming out of high school, just looking into it as a side gig or hobby. But you're starting to see more and more. Like, used to all you had was shoulder mount deer. Ducks, whole ducks, and now you're starting to see like things branch out like newer style mounts, like shoulder mount ducks. Like I showed you a picture of that.
Yeah,
like that's one of the coolest things ever.
I saw one the other day. It had like a piece of acrylic. It was clear, and the duck was sitting on it, and so below the acrylic was like it was underwater. The scene and above was the duck swimming. Yeah. That was pretty.
So the
slick.
first time I saw that was Wally that used to mount out there by the house. He was one of the first persons I've ever seen that he was doing acrylic stuff. It would be like a duck. He'd have it like flying off, and that's what it was.
Looked like water droplets.
Looked like water dropping off his feet, and his feet would be, and it was a clear.
That's pretty slick.
Yeah, but I hadn't seen anybody do it in a while. I'm sure they do. I just haven't been around it. I do got a duck. I've had my deep freeze for.
It's probably
petrified.
Yeah, it's probably well preserved.
Well froze.
It's been there 20 years.
Yeah, probably 15 years. I know.
What do you even know what it is?
Yeah,
widgeon.
My brother-in-law Thomas, he had it in my freezer before he passed away to get mounted, and it's wrapped up. I talked to a buddy about it. He said, if it's wrapped up, not freezer burns, it should still be good.
I got a couple in the deep freeze that I wanted to get mounted.
Jody, I done figured it out. So, talking about trapping, did you see that coon on camera? I think it was yesterday or day before yesterday. Had to be 40 pounds. Like, had to be. So, if we do get one of them big coons, I want to find somebody to do one of the soft mounts where it's like a teddy bear, where it's not like it's soft and squishy. And
I found the people doing the koozies. Have you seen those?
Yeah.
They got squoozies and coon koozies and skunk koozies. And
but we're going to do us a soft mount.
We met at the Mossy Oak thing, the foxhole.
I'm just going to send them down to her. She makes jewelry and everything.
Yeah, we need cone pecker necklaces and we need the koozies.
I'm a guy on TikTok though. I don't know if he just caught this skunk or he was trapping it. I don't know. I can't remember. He walked up and grabbed it.
By the tail. He thought it was dead.
Yeah, somebody told him that, you know, if it grabbed my tail, it can't spray. That dude picks it up and you seen just that cloud of mustard look like come out of it. And it got dude. I'm talking about he goes, he was sprayed. It was so funny.
Man.
Have y'all ever been close to being like sprayed? Like
I have coon hunting. We've had dog, and a dog, once it catches a coon dog catches a skunk, it hates them. So it ain't like they catch it and learn their lesson. It's like they catch it and I'm gonna kill everyone from now on. Oh yeah, we've been coon hunting tonight. It literally burn your nose, burn your eyes. I mean, everywhere you walk.
I've never been close to one spraying. I've been close to getting sprayed, but never have.
Been sprayed. Have you been sprayed?
I hadn't been directly sprayed, but yeah, we had one that was under the porch. This is back when I had that trapping business. And anyways, we were out there cooking one night, and it was down under the wood deck. And I kept hearing something, and I looked down in there, and I could see the black and white hair, and I was like, oh, no. I was like, that's a freaking skunk, man. If he, you know, the kids come out here playing or something and, you know, scare him or something, he's going to just ruin this porch.
Yes.
So I knew I had to get it out from under there. So I waited till it got dark. I knew it'd come out. So when it got dark, it came out. Well, I shot it, killed it. Well, when I did, you know, it just let go of everything. Well, it was, I don't know, it was 25 yards from here. So, well, I didn't realize which way the wind was blowing.
Oh, you was downwind?
I was downwind. And I was over there unloading the gun, and it got on me. It hit me, you know, and I mean, it got in my mouth. It got in my nostrils. I couldn't breathe. I was about to, I mean, I was gagging bad. My eyes were watering. And that stuff got all over. I mean, I had to strip off all my clothes before I went in the house, throw them in the garbage down in the dumpster at the road.
I couldn't imagine getting direct hit by a skunk. I couldn't.
Squared up. Bad.
So we had a little lap dog at the house, and I guess it was on the front porch, and man, she got sprayed. And then we let her run in the house. Oh, the whole house was.
Shell called me because I had to stop on the way to work.
I was gone. I forget where I was.
Out of town.
I was out of town. Yeah, I was up in Illinois at a hog cooking class.
Shell called me. She's like, are you still in Hernando? I was like, yeah, I'm finna get on the interstate. She's like, can you please meet me? And she's like, I need you to smell us. And I'm like, what? And I didn't know what the whole story was at the point, you know, at that time. And I made him. She's like, can you smell a skunk? And I was like, it's a little loud here, Shell.
What have you been doing?
Yeah. You sure that was a skunk?
She said, so they abandoned the house, Jamie. They took the dog and threw it in like the laundry room. Tried to contain it and left. And I don't know what she didn't know what to do.
Well, I know they were running late for school.
Yeah.
She was trying to get Michael to school.
Michael to school that day.
No, because when I got close to the car,
they had a hint.
Yeah, like they smelled like it.
Yeah. She's
like, crap, I guess we're going back home. I said, yeah, I'd probably recommend that.
It took a week to get that smell out of the house.
So the first thing you think about is washing the dog, That's the worst thing you can get it wet, but that's the first thing everybody does.
2 years in a row, going to Memphis in May, Rio got sprayed. 2 years in a row going to Memphis in May, he got sprayed.
What'd you do to it?
The first time I didn't know he was sprayed, and he came back in the house.
It's foaming.
Well, yeah, I didn't see him. You know, I just opened the door, and he ran past me, went out and used the bathroom, and he came back in. And as he went by me, I tried to catch him. Well, he made it to Will's bedroom. Well, he laid down, you know, when he's got a little pad in there that he lays on. He laid down. Well, I had to pick him up then because he was scared. You know, and he was foaming at the mouth. His hair was all oily and greasy looking. I was like, oh, my God. So when I picked him up, of course, he touched me, and that crap got all over me. So when I took him out, you know, I had to call Melissa. I was like, you know, you got to come outside. Bring baking soda and, you know, peroxide and all this stuff. Bring it all. Just bring you got. Tomato juice. Bring it all. Rotel, whatever we got.
Rotel.
Man, we were a foamy tomato soup, boy, when I got through with him. He was... It was awful, and it still didn't come off of him. Like, I had to throw those clothes away. The next year when we were leaving, I was opening the door, walked outside. You know, I had to be up there at like 8 o'clock or something like that. I opened the door, and I'll be dogged if he didn't run back in. He was spraying. I caught him at the door this time. So I told Melissa, I said, I'm just going to shoot him and just not even deal with it because it is way too much trouble. Just shoot the dog.
Put him out of his misery.
If he didn't learn the first time.
But you didn't.
I didn't shoot him.
Did he kill the skunk or he just get sprayed?
No, ignorant thing. Probably run up there playing with it and took one right in the face.
Yeah.
So we had a buddy out. I didn't even think about this. He was on a farm. He shot one with thermal. He said when you shoot it, you could see that come out on thermal.
We need to record that.
That's the one thing. Like I've never seen one on the property here, but you were on the.
I was on the bike.
Ran up on one.
Man, you talking about pedal fast? Because I rounded a corner, and of course it ain't got a big headlight, you know. My old handlebars turned, and he was from here to you, like right there, just wobbling across the street, or a little road, you know. Dude, it wasn't. I couldn't put the brakes on. All I done was grabbed another gear and hoped that e-bike was fast.
Hope you outrun that spray.
Me and Jamie rode up on one in the Ranger that time at Stanley's. I got out. He couldn't put it in reverse quick enough. I just bailed out the door and run.
It was a deer carcass. Somebody that shot a deer off the road or threw it out where we was going in hunting, and we got up there. Me, you, and Thomas, and soon we got to it. Man, we hunted that afternoon, the afternoon before, and it wasn't there. Come back, and out of that carcass, that's what here come a skunk within there eating.
I let him have it.
I'm like, what I do? Do I take off past it or sit here and let it go off? I didn't know what to do, but yeah, it was two of them in there.
So that kind of talks about, we want to talk about trapping a little bit. Skunks are turkey nest robbers too. They're going to eat all the eggs they can find. So when you're setting out trap sets, is there things you do to keep skunks out of them? Do you want to catch them? If you do, what do you do if you trap one?
You want to catch a skunk in a live trap.
So like a dog,
either you want a head trap that's, like these beaver traps, these 330s that you buy. You can set up stuff for them to go in, but skunks are few and far between in a lot of places. So the chance of catching one is 1 in 50. If you're gonna catch more possum. The coons setting that trap because they pretty much eat the same stuff.
Can you catch them in a dog-proof trap, like a hand grab?
I ain't never got one in a dog-proof trap. I don't know that they'll. I don't know.
So are you talking about
I'm sure you can, but we ain't never caught one.
Like a wire cage trap? Or
we catch a wire cage trap. We find their holes in the ground, set the wire cage trap just outside of it, and
they'll go in
kind of block them off where they can't get around it, and they'll walk up and trigger it, and it drops. We always lay a towel or something like that, old towel over the top of the trap, because if you got him like he's in that live trap and he sees you coming, you're done for. You ain't never gonna get to him.
So what is it with the skunk? We may have talked about this. I can't remember who I talked to about. You shoot them in the head, they're gonna spray.
Yep.
But if you shoot them behind the shoulder, they don't spray.
So that's how you dispatch them?
That's ain't that, was me and you talking about that?
Do you relocate them or do you dispatch them?
I dispatch them.
Yeah.
Because again, that's a turkey nest robber.
Yeah.
So our goal is to get rid of that, but I'm pretty sure I'll have to do some research to see, because I was talking to somebody that if you shoot them in the head, they're going to spray. It's like an automatic nerve deal.
Just let's go.
But if you shoot them like behind the shoulder, they won't spray.
I don't want to test that.
Yeah. Well,
I don't want to.
Have you ever trapped one? And all your trapping that you?
Yeah. I've trapped a bunch of them.
What would you do with them?
Shoot them in the head.
And then would they spray?
Yeah.
And then you just hope you ain't downwind.
Yeah, I take them somewhere that, like, most time, like when I did stuff like that, it was on my place, on my property.
Yeah.
So I would take them out there and dispatch them out in the field or something like that, and I just left them there, let the buzzards and the whatever else wanted to eat them. But no, that don't sound real good, but that's just the way it is.
That was another question I had. So when you're doing this trapping, most of the time you're probably dispatching, animals get killed.
If you're not defeating the purpose, you're defeating the whole purpose of trapping by just carrying it 2 miles down the road. Whatever.
And legally, I imagine you can't turn them loose on somebody else's property, right?
No. So you got to be careful about trapping, because, if you have a trapping license, you have to have permits, and a lot of counties will not give you the permits. Like I couldn't take if I caught a coon down here and we want to turn it loose at my house or something, we don't have a whole lot of turkeys at. If I cross county lines with it and the game warden caught me doing that, I'm in serious trouble. I'm talking about like serious trouble. Probably lose my truck, go to jail, and everything else. Not just
because you relocate. This gets the law to relocate wildlife.
Because the coons in certain counties have distemper and other diseases.
Yeah, I can see that.
And you're introducing it into another county. So do not take them from not even city to city. Wherever you catch him at, if you ain't got nowhere to let him go, you might as well dispatch him.
So are the hides worth anything?
No.
So really,
people use them for stuff, but as far as selling hides, unless you go and do all that stuff to it,
I've heard beef. You can get what do you call it? It's like not a bond, whatever you get for turning in like beaver hides and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But and coyotes, but I don't think really nobody
are worth that much. They used to make hats and stuff out of them.
Yeah.
So back to the skunk not spraying. Shoot it with a small caliber, not in the central nervous system. So do not touch the spine or the brain because that will automatically make it spray. But even if you shoot it in the heart or lungs, it's still questionable if he's going to.
Yeah.
He said it ain't a guarantee, but they're less likely to spray if you don't disturb their nervous system.
Man, shoot that thing in the head and be done.
Yeah.
Done with it. Just get away, huh?
You talking about them foothold traps? Jody caught a field rat in his by the head.
Oh, he tried to stick
It stuck his head in there to get that old honey bun and set it, and he had it, no butt of the rat was sticking out of the foothold trap. He caught it.
He must have stepped on the trigger on the back.
No, it's the grab, like a grab trap.
Nose through the little hole. That's right.
He went down and bit the trigger and tried to pull it out. That's what he did. But we need to. How many footholds did we ever figure? We need to count that today. See how many we got.
I know. There's like 6 out in the shop. I think I got 2 in my pickup.
Jody's got a guy we can get. I think I said a dozen for $100. I think that's what it is. So you bring him cash, he give you 12 of them. I want to say they're usually 150, 160. They're like $10 a piece or something, or a little bit more.
Yeah, they're around, depending on which ones you get. And some of them ain't no good. We bought some that wasn't that good. Those
What do you like better if you're?
I don't want mine painted. You know,
Just want steel.
I want just a steel trap, yes. And that way I can clean it up on the back with a wire brush, the trigger and stuff like that, and keep, some kind of oil or something like that on it, cooking oil or olive oil or fish oil or something like that on the trap.
So it doesn't rust?
I mean, it's going to rust. I mean, if you leave them outside in the rain stuff, it's metal, it's going to rust eventually. But some of those painted ones, the triggers on them, when they paint those triggers, it's harder to trip it, and it don't trip as fast as you want it to. So I prefer just the plain steel traps, and there's several of them that make them out there. But they'll paint them up with some kind of, I don't know, it's a real like sticky type paint, and then they put it on. A lot of people put their dipper traps in this paint, and it's supposed to make them last forever and all this stuff. But sometimes you have to.
It's like that military green paint. Ain't it? It's like gritty. It's got like sand in it.
That makes them last a long time, but I feel like I missed stuff with those other ones because the trigger's so hard to set. You probably could go in there and file it up and clean that up and make it trip. But anyways, that's just my opinion. Well,
what do you think? Do you think trapping does more for turkey population than habitat improvement?
Yes.
Anybody can pretty much do it.
Unless you just coon hunt, and you got dogs and all that stuff, you got somebody to go on your property and do that. Now that's pretty efficient. You're going to get several of them a night, but if you got a week or weekend that you can go set, 20 coon traps and you got them scattered out far enough, like you heard them talk about trap lines or whatever, but you find places where coons are at, edges, creek edges and ditch edges and hardwood ridges, they're, staying in, because you see them during the deer season, late. I know where some are end up now, on your property from hunting, and see them come out of the top of the tree, they're sleeping in that hollow tree, so we'll set traps around those, but trapping is very efficient.
So what it does is, as far as
and it's cheap.
Helping your population, it's one of the best things that you can do.
So what is a coon? What is a predator to a coon? The coyotes mess with them?
Yeah.
That'd be really the only thing.
Coyote, a bobcat.
That'd be about the only thing.
So you don't have nothing you can put on your property to get rid of them that not causes another problem.
Yeah.
That's the issue.
Right. So as far as what species animals we have, we're trying to trap coons, possums, skunks, armadillos.
Yeah.
Armadillos rob turkey nests?
Yes, sir. Yep.
They will.
Mm-hmm.
They also make a mess of your property.
That's the most, I guess.
Armadillo and the coyote are the hardest to trap out of all animals to me. And coyote's just so leery and so, man, he picks up on everything. And some of the traps you put out for them, sometimes they have to stay out for a little while before they'll even fool with them, because they've been through there and they've seen them and they know something ain't right. So you really got to hide them good. The armadillos, I've only known of one trap or one bait that you could use for a freaking armadillo. And it was a trap I was buying out of South Mississippi where they had an armadillo farm. And they would put the armadillo can't see hardly. So he goes off scent, and he's an edge creature. So he'll follow the edge of your house or the edge of a fence or something like that. So there was this guy that made these traps, these wood traps. It was specifically for armadillos. anyways, it was a square wood trap, probably about 12 by 12, and had wood doors on the front. And in the middle, it had a hole drilled, and he had like a little pulley system that goes over there, and there was a stick that stuck down in the trap. So when the armadillo walked through, he bumped the stick, knocked it off the trigger, and both doors fell. But he would
So
leave
what
those.
would he like shoot him down, like put up some barrier to make an edge where he'd follow it?
Well, that one you could set it out anyway. You could buy one scented or unscented. So what he had an armadillo farm, and he made these traps. So he would set it out there for a week and leave it out there on the farm where the armadillos would walk through it, and they would smell where another armadillo would be in. So then you bought the trap from him, and then you just set it out in the middle of the yard. If there was an armadillo around, he would smell where that another armadillo would be in and come over looking for food or whatever and go through the trap.
Why in the world would you want an armadillo farm?
I don't know.
What are you doing with them?
I don't know.
That
was the only animal I had to dispatch. If you caught it, you had to dispatch. I'd get fined if I didn't.
I killed one last week down here.
I mean, every time I see one, we try to shoot them. I mean, but I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't kill them because of the probability of them getting turkey nest. I was thinking, man, they dig these holes.
Yeah,
They ruin the ground.
They're bad as a mini hog. Just,
Yeah, you ever step in armadillo hole, man, just twist your daggum ankle. I mean, they brute.
Yep.
Did anybody kill a bobcat this year?
I did.
Yeah. You did?
I did.
Yeah, Mikey killed.
I usually always shoot a bobcat and coyote, and I didn't shoot
on
neither
camera
one.
now that we need to get. Well, I would have guessed that the bobcat's the hardest to trap, just because they're rare.
smart.
I mean,
They're
they're
smart.
smart.
Yeah, they're
I mean,
rare, but they're most of the time I could
could
get
trap
them
them?
better than I could a
really.
coyote. Yeah.
What would you catch them in a dog-proof trap, or would you catch them in
foothold traps.
a what?
Foothold.
Foothold.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about e-calling? Can you have y'all ever done much of that for coyote and bobcat?
I had. I mean, we tried a long
tried,
time
but
ago.
we didn't know what it was doing. It did not work. But
That's what I'm excited about trying day and night.
Yeah.
I think that'd be a lot of fun during, off season when you got some time. Now, right now would be a perfect time of year to do it because it's still
Yeah.
kind of cool. You can see a long way. Everything's not greened up. So
Well, Kevin McGuffey, the guy I brought down here Friday, that he does some land management stuff and things like that. That's what he loves doing. That's what he was saying the whole time we were riding. He was like looking for places like to set up, and he kept telling me, there's a good place right there. They'll come here, and I can set the call over here, and we can, So he was already looking at that. He wants us to go with him. Him's gonna come down here and we go shoot coyotes with him. But he said he's pretty good at it.
Well, what do you think? So if you're just getting started, predator type management, what would you do? Would you get some hand grab traps? Would you get some foothold traps? Would you
I would stay away from the foothold traps.
Because if you're just starting out, what's
yeah.
the easiest for somebody that's just getting started and wants to try to help the turkey populations?
The hand grab traps are the easiest. The live traps are just, it's a big old steel cage sitting out in the woods, so you kind of got to hide that a little bit, and know where they're at and put some kind of bait in there they really want.
Money bone.
Yeah.
That's what I've caught them with.
But, the coons can get out of the live trap.
You had them get out?
Yes. Yeah, you can put a video.
Was it for leaving them in there too long? Or?
No, they're just so strong, and if they can get their fingers, I seen one on a video because I lost one time. And I couldn't figure out why. I was like, well, the trap failed or whatever. Well, what a coon will do if you leave him in there too long, he's trying to constantly figure out how to get out of there. And he will get out, especially a big one. But he'll slide. I watched him. He laid on his back, and he stretched his arms out like we would. And he slid his fingers under the door and just barely kept pushing that door and wound up bending the corner of that door up and got out.
Enough to where he could slide.
Enough to where he could slide out.
I imagine he was in there for a minute too, though.
He
Unless he was just a smart coon.
Yeah, it was a time-lapse video, so he'd been in there for a couple of hours, and he finally figured out how to get out of there.
So how often, when you set your traps, how often should you go check them?
Every day.
Just every 24 hours they need to be ran?
If you're a responsible hunter and you give a crap about animals and you're just not mean, you need to check them every day.
Yeah, we'd run them when I was a kid. My Uncle Jimmy.
Kill traps, not.
We'd run them in the morning and afternoon.
Yeah, if you got a kill trap where it's killing an animal, you're not going to use it for anything. You don't have to do that. But these live traps and these hand grab traps where they're still alive,
Yeah, you want to be most.
you got to check them. Because that animal will lay out there. If he gets in the sun, if he's laying anywhere in the sun, he's already exhausted because he just got caught.
It's tortured.
It's torturing him. He'll lay out there and he'll dehydrate and he'll die.
That'd be my biggest problem with it. You don't want to think about him sitting out there suffering.
No, I think that's what I don't. Same thing. I don't understand how people do that. Just put it out and don't care. I can't operate that way. I get soft hearted about it or whatever. But
what gun are you gonna carry with you when you trap?
My pump 22 or a 22 pistol.
I always take it a 22.
Mm-hmm.
You take a catch pole?
Yeah, I have to. Well, no, not if I'm gonna dispatch them. If we're gonna take them off.
Do you recommend that really? I mean,
catch pole or dispatch?
And not try to catch them alive. I mean,
I think it depends on where you're at too. Some places you're not gonna be able to dispatch them where they're at, so you got to have the catch pole to get them somewhere.
Like here in the city or something. We're talking. Yeah.
That was the only time I had, if I had to dispatch them, if I was in a rural area in a county or something where I could fire a gun, or not in a neighborhood, I would take my 22 pistol and have it in my backpack and, shoot him on the spot. But if I was in the middle of town in a neighborhood or something like that, kids around, I try not to do it in front of them. So I take a catch pole and grab them with it, and then I take just what your little carry-ons like you put your dog in.
Like kennel? Like a
kennel? Yeah. A little plastic kennel, and I would flip it up right and then pick them up by the catch pole and just flop them over in there and turn them loose and either release them.
You put 4 or 5 coons in one of them.
Oh, it's a mess. Them things get to fighting. They'll tear it up. But yeah, there's a lot of benefit to trapping. There's a lot of ways to do it. You can use those old beaver traps. I mean, I've seen them make. I've never tried these, but these are pretty easy. Like you get a 5-gallon bucket or something. You got to get it stable, or you can lay it on its side and get it stable. And you can put those beaver traps, those 330s in there, where it's got 2 little prongs in it. And you can put the bait in the back. When the coon sticks his head in there, it breaks his neck right there. And you don't have to, do that.
And you use a bucket, 5-gallon bucket to do it.
Yeah, 5-gallon bucket.
That's interesting. I'd try that one. See if that method will work around here.
We got to set a date for a trapping weekend.
Yeah, it just needs to start. We just need to take turns checking them. That way somebody, ain't got to worry about coming down here every single day.
And you can also put, we got cameras. So, if we set traps or something like that, we can put cameras on them.
Do you think it messes up your set having a game cam near it because you're getting more presence, more scent?
If you're checking it all the time, yes. I mean, if you set a trap, you don't want to go up there a whole bunch and mess around.
That's
like after you set it, you really need to, just like with a deer or something, you got to
back out,
practice scent control and go up in there, ease up in there, and come right back out. Do what you got to do and get out. Don't
try not to disturb anything.
Try not to disturb nothing.
Well, you can see it from a couple yards away.
That's what I was
going all the way to
checking them. You can just ease up on it and see if something's in it.
Yeah,
but you don't have to go mess with it. But
just gotta make sure it ain't been triggered or anything.
So you do need to put physical, pretty close eyes on it, see if it's still set.
Because if something comes up there messing with it, or you see it on the camera and then he's not trapped, there's a good possibility maybe it was a miss.
Does that happen pretty often?
It happens.
Yeah.
We got to watching, I forget what the guy is on YouTube. So many folks that do the trapping though, like full time, that's their living, man. They're machines.
They're intense about it.
Heck
too.
yeah.
There's a show that comes on one of the hunting channels where it's about trapping or whatever, and they show you all the stuff. And it's crazy some of the stuff they do.
Paintbrush, covering the dirt back up, and matching it back in, and blending it and sifting it.
They got the little screen where they sift the dirt and reset it. Did you?
Yeah.
How'd you learn how to do it? Just trial and error?
Watching it. Me and Randy, I mean, we'd set traps since we were kids and stuff like that, but it got more complex. It's different traps you went into, like those foothold traps and stuff like that, or those, what everybody thinks a trap is, those jawed traps, like look like a big, a small bear trap.
Yeah.
Those right there. I mean, you got to be careful because you're trying to get that animal a certain way you set it to the bait, a front foot catch, a back foot catch, you could set it in the wrong spot and he walked up here and stepped right over it. So you got to kind of camouflage it in and make it look like it's undisturbed, but or an animal's been, burrowing a hole and he's looking for that animal, so there's a lot of techniques to it. Watching those guys on YouTube, a lot of them one of them helped me catch a beaver that I couldn't catch, just doing his technique.
Yeah.
With a snare, I never could catch this beaver. He's in shallow water. Couldn't set the 330's got to be a certain distance in the water legally. And, I couldn't never catch him. So we set a snare and I wound up catching this beaver with a snare around the freaking head. In the golf course.
Was he still alive?
Yeah, he was still alive. And I'm out there in the middle of the golf course with a live beaver with no pistol.
Wrestling. Yeah, I'm sure he's not too happy.
And that's as far as I'm telling y'all what I did.
He ain't too happy, is he?
They were hitting golf balls. They were on the green right over next to me, and I'm out in the thicket with this beaver alive, and this thing is going nuts.
What kind of noise is the beaver making?
He didn't make none.
Oh.
He was just like, they're very, very strong. And I mean, we're talking about a 60-pound beaver. He's a big.
They're very aggressive.
Yes. And he was coming at me, and he was mad.
Yeah, they don't act nothing like the beaver at Bucky's or nothing like that. But
They're not friendly.
No.
Brisket sandwich.
no.
I had to dispatch him right there. So
We used to do a bunch of beaver hunting when I was in high school, and that was the one animal you made sure it was done before you put in the boat with you. Because if he wasn't, you know it. He would get highly upset.
They're not easy to take out what you think. They're pretty daggum tough.
Oh, they're real tough. 22 don't hardly phase them unless you just hit them just right.
Well, we talked about those fungi glasses or whatever.
Yeah.
We got a pair.
I put them on, drove down here. It's pretty tricky.
Oh, you
No, I'm
drove
just
in them? You were looking for sheds on the way.
Yeah.
So how that came up was we were talking about shed hunting last week.
Yeah.
It's time for them to start dropping. I've seen a few pictures. We still got some bucks.
I got one over on the other property that only has one antler.
Yeah, I saw
Seen
that.
him.
So, but it's time for them to start dropping. And so Jamie brought up, you've been seeing people use these mushroom hunting glasses. So the company was called Fungi Eyes.
Fungi Eyes or Fungi Eyes.
Yeah.
They're not cheap. They're like an $89 pair of sunglasses. But when you put them on, man, it's like high definition.
I mean, it does. Even at work, the walls that were white look like really white.
Yeah.
So
So we're hoping that
I don't know.
So
I ain't sold on them yet.
instead of just going out and looking for sheds with them, we got some horns we found around here. We're going to throw them out and do a little test video.
We're going to play Easter egg hunt.
Then we're probably going to go out and show you how we.
I think it does have to be a sunny, bright day for them to work correctly. You can't do it on a cloudy day because it don't amplify the
that
light
makes
or whatever
sense.
it is.
I watched a couple videos and
You got an idea?
well, yeah, I think where they really shine is if, say, you're walking around the edge of your food plot, you got some sage grass or some tan colored grass, it makes it highlight against that background. But if you're in the woods like oak trees and it's dark brown leaves, that white antler's going to stick out a little bit anyway, and it does highlight it some, but we're going to have to see. I don't know.
I don't know if there's a way we could hold the phone up.
Yeah,
The
you can hold the
lens.
camera through it. That's what that one guy did. He actually held the camera through it.
You can get an
It showed
idea
it.
of how
Yeah.
it looks, because that's going to be hard doing a video, but we're going to try it.
Yeah.
I'm more excited because we got to watching the videos last night on them shed hunting with them, and then we got to looking at morel hunting.
That's a big.
I'm going to have to.
Do we have morels around here?
Yeah. You just got to so
Randy does it every year.
what I've noticed is sweet gum thickets, something like that, or where we done the hack and squirt to where it's in the woods, but sunlight's getting to the ground, stuff like that. And I think, go back to Jody and them, he got into it last year. They filled up 2 Walmart sacks, and I think
So what's so special about them? I mean,
they say they're the
Good
best
eating
mushroom
mushroom.
you ever eat.
I've ate them. They're okay. I mean, I wouldn't say it's the best thing I ever ate.
so the first time I ever heard about it was at
We was at a barbecue contest.
the barbecue contest. Guy was standing there talking to us. He's like, "Y'all smell that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, barbecue." And the guy's like, "No, you smell that?" And I'm like, "No." And he goes off in the woods with the Walmart bag and comes out with a bag full of mushrooms. He could smell them from the trailer. And I'm like, "Man, I didn't."
He had to have been 100 yards from them, too. I mean, where he started looking.
I didn't know what he was talking about.
When they took them bags, and I said, what are these fools doing?
They're
in the
pretty
woods.
valuable because Jody and them traded 2 bags, Walmart sacks full of morels for, I think, 20 or 30 pounds of crappie fillets. So
That's a good trade to me.
I
I'd
mean,
rather have
that's-
the crappie.
we might could do some black market trading with some mushrooms. But he said they're good. He said they kept some of them and just cut them up in slivers and fried them. He said they're real delicate. He said you
Yeah.
got to be real easy with it.
Just cook them in butter. That's all they do. Saute them in butter.
Yeah.
Season them a
I
little
get
bit.
I get the poisonous ones probably.
Yeah.
That'd be
We've
me.
been
I
here
wouldn't know.
tweaking out.
hallucinating or something.
I hope they're better. Well, I know they're better than truffles. That's one mushroom I would sling that thing back in the woods where I found
Those
it.
stinky feet
Man,
mushroom.
them things taste like feet.
I got to where I like them though.
That's all right on some fries, but I think it's more truffled salt than actual truffle.
Yeah,
on it.
maybe I like
it's gotta
salt.
have something with it because
Yeah.
just the mushroom by itself is.
Pungent.
I
I guess it's an acquired rich blood taste or something, because I ain't crazy about them.
they're okay. I mean, first time I had them, I guess, was in Colorado, and they could get potent, I guess, but they wasn't bad.
It's an acquired taste for sure. I like it on certain things. It's good on potatoes for sure.
It must have been pretty good. We was up there a week. And we pretty much ate them
We ate truffle fries every day.
pretty much every day. But
Well,
Speaking of eating, we got any more recipes? Everybody worked them. You did SOS last week.
SOS.
That one's in the works of getting done.
That's pretty daggum good.
So what is SOS for folks that don't know?
I never had it and never heard of it till I met my wife, and didn't really know. But SOS is stuff on a shingle, or you read between the lines on that. My mother-in-law said it's stuff on a shingle, but
That's the PG.
That's
version.
G-rated, yeah.
G-rated.
But it's basically, I guess it goes back to what they used to fix in the military because it was easy and cheap, and it'd fill you up. I mean, it sticks to your bones.
Yeah.
And so she me and my wife were dating, and I went over. I was like, "What is this?" I was like, "Man, it's slop. Like, what is this?"
Slop.
Put it on a piece of toast, and it is. I love it, man. It's.
But what did she use for her the meat or the protein?
She used ground beef.
Yeah, most people use just ground beef on it.
See, that's what I was talking to Brad, and he's like, "Man, I've been eating that my whole life." Well, as a kid, not his whole life, but as a kid, that's what happened. They use that jar ham,
The salted
Dry beef.
beef.
yeah, like dried beef. I'm like, man, it sounds like it
Well,
was
then
so salty.
Austin at work, he uses. I think they said they use corned beef. I
Yeah,
was like,
he did.
"Gum,
Yeah,
that's got to be salty." But
yeah.
but I just
Dry beef in a can, salty as it
yeah,
can
it
be.
is, yeah.
I just
Spice
use
it
some
up.
just ground deer meat. Of course, I don't ever, unless I know that I'm going to keep some deer meat for deer burger, I don't ever add fat hardly. I just grind it as it is, and then I add to it like I want. And I just use straight ground deer meat. And then for the fat, when I made my gravy, I just put a stick of butter in there, and that's kind of the fat. And it's ground meat, onions, mushrooms, and you make like a beefy gravy, which I used that beefy mushroom soup mix, and then a little bit of broth and heavy cream. And
So is it brown gravy or is it like white gravy?
it's a brown gravy.
Okay.
But I've always added heavy cream to gravy to where it just don't taste like some old schoolyard gravy,
Mm-hmm.
But do
Give it
that
some
and some
body.
Texas toast, and
It's good.
It's SOS.
it's SOS.
Yeah.
I guess technically you could use any kind of
You could use
meat
any
in there,
meat.
whatever.
That first word describes it all. Whatever you got in the
Yeah, that's
refrigerator.
what it is, yeah.
It could be. So anything you want ground,
Yep.
put it in there.
But it goes back to, I mean, it's a simple recipe. It's something that, man, you can cook. It don't take no time to cook, and it can sit over on a stove on low for a couple of hours. And guys coming in and out of camp, if we're out here working or something, I mean, it's good feeling. Now, it's good. It's gonna stick to your lungs, and it's gonna come on out and let you know. You know,
Yeah.
you're gonna know you ate it.
You're gonna it's gonna sit on you.
Yeah, that stuff's gonna go somewhere besides that shingle.
Are you doing a recipe today, Jamie?
I
We get
am,
through?
yeah.
What are you working
Man,
on?
this is a trial and error recipe, I guess you'd say. So we're gonna do a deer roast, slice it up, and do like on a hoagie roll, like a
Oh.
French dip.
Yeah.
It's gonna be with deer.
A Mississippi dip
We're
sandwich.
gonna see.
It's gonna be good.
That sounds good. You already got your roast and everything ready to go.
Yep, gonna go over there and season it up and throw it on a pellet grill here in a few minutes.
Man, I done a.
It's gonna be lunchtime. Time we go shoot a few videos. Jamie gets that roast cooked up.
I done something. I was disappointed in myself last night. I was getting that roast out, one of my deep freeze, and I keep everything. I try to keep everything pretty much organized, so I know like this is what I got left from last year early. We need to use this first, and I went in there and grabbed the roast out. Man, I found one that was wrote 2020. It'd been sitting in the bottom of the freezer. I was like, golly, but it's still good. Man,
Thaw it out.
I thawed it out, man. It smelled just like I just put it in there.
Yeah.
So be good to go.
I think if you, recommended, what is it, a year vacuum seal? But I've had meat last longer than that. As
Yeah.
long as you put it up right.
As long as you put it up right, and
You throw it in a Ziploc bag, it ain't gonna make it. But
I try to, which this was using a regular vacuum sealer, so you really got to make sure it's dry when it goes in there so it don't suck the moisture out. But this was that chamber vac. Well, no, this wasn't. This was a regular vacuum seal bag. So, I mean, it done fine. So, we'll see. Jamie's going to cook it, and if we all get sick, we know that one there was a little bit too
I
old.
guarantee you, if it's freezer burn, I can tell you.
Hey, it ain't
That's-
freezer
that's
burning.
one
I
thing.
usually smell it pretty good.
you'll know.
Fish and freezer burn, that's two things I can't deal with.
But it's time to knock some videos out.
Yeah.
I guess we're gonna
That's
go
going well.
Easter egg shed hunting, and then we're gonna try to do some real shed hunting.
If we have time, we are today. Just walk around and see. It's been doing a lot of raining here, but it's time to get on it. Trapping,
It's definitely
finding,
will.
see what bucks dropped, and Mikey, you're gonna do a little hinge cutting.
Yep.
Probably try to do a video on that, show people what we're talking about, or the way we do it anyway.
Yep. We'll do that today too.
We'll get told we ain't doing it right, but
And then we got a guest coming next week, right,
That's right,
Jamie?
Yep. Yep, got Opie from Hope Outdoors. He's from, I believe, Tupelo where he lives. He's coming up and going to kind of give a little insight on Hope Outdoors, how he got started, and kind of what the meaning and the background is behind Hope Outdoors.
That'd be interesting to find out.
It is. I'm addicted to it already, I think.
Good deal.
So we got got 2 more contest winners that we reached out to yesterday. We got Trey Jackson. He won the trail cam contest, and Dennis Weimer on a harvested deer. So if you get those emails they come from you, Tyler. So Tyler sent you an email yesterday, let you know, respond back to us when we get you some stuff. You should be seeing that in the mail in a couple of weeks if you respond back to us. And
send us those shed pictures if you're out finding some cool sheds. We'd like to see them, man. We'll share them. And with turkey season coming up, y'all get ready.
Take a picture of the shed with you in it.
With you in it?
yeah, you in it.
We won't need no Google images.
Yeah, don't submit Google images, please.
Yeah, you do back.
We're gonna catch it.
We do background checks.
Yeah, check it. It's not too hard to search, is it?
We're gonna catch it. But yeah, y'all listen to us because we'll be running some contests off and on throughout this year, and we got some pretty good prizes we're gonna give out. So we'll come up with some new stuff here in the next month or so.
And if anybody happens to be in Nashville this weekend, I'll have my backpack with a few extra Buck Junkies hats. Come find me and we'll hook you up.
There you go. We need a full report. Hopefully you can get some video or something. We can put together a little something about what the turkey convention's like, Mark.
I think it's going to be big. It's going to be good. I'm excited.
You check out our videos. We got an apple dump cake dropping this week, 22 target review that's going to drop this week. And let's see, cooking in a duck blind will drop this week. So y'all check those videos out.
That was a good break.
Got to cook. You ain't got no ducks. You got to do something, don't
Had to
you?
have something to eat.
Well, Mark, take us on out of here today.
Well, we appreciate y'all listening. Again, y'all know where to find us on all the podcast platforms, and just keep your eye out. We're gonna try to keep this content rolling. We got a pretty busy spring coming up, and then of course, y'all have heard us talk about all the cooking contests. We got wild game cooking, so it ought to be a fun year. Y'all just follow along, and we're gonna have a good time doing it.
All right, we appreciate y'all tuning in today. We gone.